of folks who I've not seen at a luncheon or an event before. What that tells me is that there's a number of you who sponsored tables today, and you invited new women who have not been exposed to Annie's List yet. I hope that you like what you've heard today. Of course, you didn't come to hear from me. Connie will be great. She'll inspire you. But I hope you like the strategic plans that we've laid out, our long-term track record for success, because I want to ask you to do a little bit more for Annie's List, especially those that are new today and are hearing about Annie's List for the first time. We really need your support. This is going to be the biggest election year for us yet. We have a lot of ground to make up. We have great communications fodder. Again, I think the Republicans have overreached, and we'll use that in our messaging in the fall, but that requires direct mail. It requires television. It requires social media. It requires professional consultants and professional campaigns. So please consider writing an additional check today to support Annie's List, to go directly to our political programs, to go to that high-level research that I've described, to go to that polling, to go to micro-targeting of voters, so that we can make sure and build the professional campaigns that we need to win. So again, thank you for being here today. Thank you for supporting us. You've been great. Austin has always been a great supporter of Annie's List, and we really appreciate it. So without further ado, let me introduce our keynote speaker today. This is the second luncheon that Connie Schultz has done for us. She came to Dallas, and she was amazing. Everyone loved her, and we said, we've got to have her back, so we begged. And I start with that because I want you to know something as you hear about her amazing professional record. That Connie has made an incredible contribution today. She waived all of her speaker fee and came to Annie's List for free today because that's how much she believes in our mission. To honor her and at her request, we are making a contribution to the Capital Area Food Bank in lieu of an honorarium, and we wanted to make sure that you knew that she had waived her fee today and that that was the contribution that she was making to us, which is incredibly generous and allows us to put even more money towards our campaigns and our women candidates. As you know, Connie is a syndicated columnist with the Cleveland Plain Dealer. She's a 2005 Pulitzer Prize winner for commentary for what I loved was called, quote, pungent columns that provided a voice for the underdog and the underprivileged. She's our kind of gal. In addition, she was a 2003 Pulitzer Prize finalist in feature writing for her series, The Burden of Innocence, which chronicled the ordeal of Michael Green, who was imprisoned for 13 years for a rape he did not commit. The week after that series ran, the real rapist turned himself in after reading her stories. And he is currently serving a 5-year prison sentence. She's also won numerous other awards, including the Robert F. Kennedy Award for Social Justice Reporting, the National Headliners Awards Best of Show, and Journalism Awards from Harvard and Columbia University. Her second book, which is titled And His Lovely Wife, is a memoir about her husband, U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown's successful race for the U.S. Senate in Ohio. It was published in 2007, and she took a leave of absence as a columnist in order to travel the campaign trail with him, be the ultimate surrogate, and see up close what it was like to run for office. And I have to tell you, they are an amazing, great progressive couple to watch together. Connie, we really appreciate you being here today. Please welcome Connie Schultz to the stage.
Isn't he cute? He's so cute. I love Robert. I feel like he's practically my son at this point. I see so much of him. It is great to be back in Texas for Annie's List. Now, a few of you were back in Dallas when I was here last year. And I told you at the time that I was going to be leaving that luncheon and 2 days later having dinner with Karl Rove, which was true, at Oberlin College, one of the most liberal colleges in the country. And that's kind of what Ohio does. We do weird things, and that was one of them. And I really enjoyed seeing Carl, because I met him the first time at the White House right after my husband won. That was fun. But I had to be on my best behavior for this one, but I did have to let him know that I had just been in his home state of Texas, and he said, "What were you doing in Texas?" And I said, "I just had lunch with 700 progressive women," and you should have seen the color drain from his face. It was a lot of fun. I am here because of Annie's List. I am not traveling a lot right now. I'm supposed to be working on my third book, so please don't tell my editor that I'm here. I came because I believe in the work of Annie's List. And I also came because I know right now a lot of you are feeling really worn out. This has been quite a time for Texas and for Ohio. You know, we lost every Democrat in statewide office in Ohio in November. The only statewide elected Democrat left standing was my husband. So I do know what it feels like to be a Texan. And it's so different coming here than going and speaking in New York, where they all get to be liberal, they all get to be feminists, it's no big deal. They don't know us. But I know Texas, and I know you. And I know you're feeling really run down, but here's the thing. For all your frustration, for all your disappointments, for all your weariness, you've packed the room. This is what you did. You showed up anyway. I am so pleased to hear of all the new women who are here. I like looking out and seeing, I can't see all of you because of this light, but I can see a number of young women, which is so encouraging. I know you're feeling demonized by a lot of people right now. I've looked at the language to some of those anti-abortion bills. They're very similar to some of the anti-abortion bills we have in Ohio. I recently covered a hearing where they had an ultrasound testify. We are a circus. And I know what it feels like to be on the receiving end of some of that criticism, but I want to remind you what the African-American poet Lucille Clifton said. I have this quote taped to both of my desktop computers, and it's been there for years. Every time I change computers, I put it right back up. What they call you is one thing. What you answer to is something else. You have such a strong legacy of big, bold women here. You know, I'm thinking of Barbara Jordan, and we've already talked about Ann Richards, and Cecile Richards, and Sarah Weddington was here, and I didn't even know that till I sat down. And Molly Ivins, and Gloria Feldt. Many of you know Gloria Feldt, former president, national president of Planned Parenthood. I had lunch with Gloria a couple weeks ago, and she told me what her dad always used to say to her about her critics. Well, what are they going to do to you? They can't cook and eat you. And you've got State Representative Carol Alvarado. Where are you? Are you still here? Is she here? Can someone tell me? I read this, and when I first read it, I almost didn't believe it. Stood on the floor of the Texas House, is that right? And delivered a tutorial on the difference between a transvaginal sonogram and jelly on the belly. Hallelujah! And you have Robbie Osley. Ah, my. We had a little dinner last night, and Robbie was at the dinner table, and her husband's already given me the okay on this because I had to get his permission to be able to say this. Tom, thank you. You already had a daughter and a 17-month-old baby, right, when you delivered twins. Did you know that Robbie called her husband and said she would not come home from the hospital until he got a vasectomy? And when she got pregnant after that vasectomy, do you know that doctor told her husband, your wife must be having an affair. That urologist is still standing, which in my view makes him the luckiest urologist in the state of Texas. But last night we had a chance to talk a little bit about politics in Texas and what's happening to women. And you know, I love coming to Texas because I'm sitting at a table full of women, right? One of the first things I know is, you know how the waiter goes around and asks if anybody wants pepper? Every single woman took the pepper. And I thought, now I'm home in Texas again. And we started talking about what is really driving all this anger at us women right now? What is driving all this anti-abortion legislation? We don't really think it has that much to do with abortion, we decided we were talking about. I think it has to do with, if you have to acknowledge that women have sex, you also might have to acknowledge that women like to have sex. And then Robert, I think, had the best line of the night. And I said, because I think that's what the problem is. Men don't want to think about that. And he says, well, you know what?